but he would, so he'd suddenly start filming my hands or my feet. But what was interesting is that to him in that moment, my hands were telling so much more of the story than my face. And I had to be so much more, it was sort of chicken or the egg. I don't know if I was more alive and awake as an actor because every part of me was up for grabs while he's filming. My mom will call 7 times in a row. She's that person. She's the one who thinks that like on time 6, you just like didn't see that she was calling. So she's just gonna keep calling.
He says we should run lines together. He's like, anytime. And she's like, come on over. I'm feeding the baby in the trailer, but come on over. Like it's written there, black and white. She invited him in, and a lot of women are comfortable having someone around when they breastfeed. So it's not so weird, especially out in Hollywood, for him to assume, yeah, I guess she's fine with this because she did let him in. Ryan Reynolds comes off terribly. He had them over to their penthouse in New York, and Taylor Swift was believed to be there, according to this latest complaint. Not within the purview of an actress. And then after that, they have text messages in which Blake tells Justin, this is in the latest lawsuit, I know you've never watched Game of Thrones, but when you get around to watching it, you'll realize I'm Khaleesi and these are my dragons. And I have the best dragons in the business, right? Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift.
Oh, it's looking like Blake Lively is done, y'all. Megyn Kelly has stepped into full beast mode, coming for Blake's neck and calling out every single lie she's ever told. And the receipts she's pulling out, they've totally shattered Blake's case into pieces.
I will happily participate in releasing any further leaks that they have because the truth should be out there. What does she have to fear if she's telling the truth?
You can rest assured that based on the investigation we've done, the text messages we have, the receipts that'll go along with that complaint, she's dead in the water.
Megyn ain't just talking out of turn either. She's got her lawyer backing her up, dropping bombshells that prove Blake has been out here twisting the truth from day one. But here's the real tea. Blake's motives? Oh, they might be way darker and more narcissistic than any of us could have guessed.
Lively was no victim here. She was in control, she was in power, and she took over this film.
And let's talk about how Blake's been playing dirty. From using her girl Taylor Swift and hubby Ryan Reynolds to try and pressure Justin Baldoni, to straight up threatening to boycott a whole movie if producers didn't bend to her outrageous demands. Messy, right?
Such a brat that she wanted to control every scene, wanted to see all the dailies, wanted to do her own cut and did her own cut of the movie. All this is very unusual for just an actress in the film, even if she's the lead, and that she's now tried to turn this whole thing into a PR victory for her to get past what appears to be the fact that she is an egotistical.
Y'all, let me tell you, this whole situation goes way deeper than just a little lawsuit. Blake Lively's plan? Oh, it looks like she had a whole evil master strategy from jump. By now, we know Blake has hit Justin with a lawsuit accusing him of harassment and trying to smear her name. But hold up, Justin came back swinging with his own lawsuit, claiming Blake's the one running a smear campaign against him. But trust me, this story's way more complicated than you think. So before we dive into all the fresh leaked receipts, let's rewind and take a closer look at where this whole mess began. Because like I said, Blake's plan, it's looking a lot darker than anyone realized. The drama didn't start with Justin Baldoni, as she's tried to claim. Nope, it goes all the way back to when Blake's rep went up in flames after some serious public backlash. And spoiler alert, it wasn't Justin's doing. It was her own Miss Me attitude that had her fans turning on her. Let me break it down for you. When Blake was out there promoting It Ends With Us alongside Justin, people started catching some weird energy from her. Fans got curious, did some digging, and honey, what they found had them shook.
This often happens when these stars drop a movie. People start digging around for other interviews of them, etc. And it was just sort of a course of, wow, like, she seems like kind of a jerk. Wow, she's like kind of a bully. She's rather mean.
So in her attempt to clean up her image, Blake hopped on her high horse, claiming Justin and his PR team were behind all those negative stories about her. And in true Please Love Me Again style, she took to the New York Times to try to flip the narrative and make Justin look like the villain while she played the poor, innocent victim. Only catch is, now we've got cold, hard proof that the New York Times straight up manipulated text messages and left out key details to paint Justin in the worst possible light. Ain't that something?
Literally removing text in between text and emojis to sort of make it sound worse.
But wait, hold up. Doesn't all of this sound way too familiar?
He has made herself into the new Amber Heard, and he is the new Johnny Depp.
Y'all remember when Amber Heard tried the same exact thing on Johnny Depp back in 2018, right? She wrote that shady piece in The Sun about him, painting him as the big bad monster and herself as the helpless victim. Now Amber's even out here showing Blake some support, like they're in the same boat. But Blake made a major blunder by taking notes from Amber's disastrous playbook. I mean, does she not remember how horribly that whole mess ended for Amber?
Now he's going full Johnny Depp on her to show that she was the bully. She was the one hurting him. And this guy who had, comparatively very little power was forced now to come out and tell the truth about Blake Lively.
Just like Amber, Blake's biggest mistake, thinking her fans are straight up dumb and that we're all falling for this act, because honey, even though she's out here claiming Justin and his PR team are out to make her look bad in interviews, let's be real, we've all seen it. We can all see how rude and dismissive she is with interviewers.
But he would, so he'd suddenly start filming my hands or my feet. But what was interesting is that to him in that moment, my hands were telling so much more of the story than my face. And I had to be so much more, it was sort of chicken or the egg. I don't know if I was more alive and awake as an actor because every part of me was up for grabs while he's filming. My mom will call 7 times in a row. She's that person. She's the one who thinks that like on time 6, you just like didn't see that she was calling. So she's just gonna keep calling.
We see how she constantly makes it all about her. Like this one moment when they asked about her husband, but Blake twisted it to plug her hair care line.
Turned around and you were just as supportive of Ryan. What is it like to...
And my hair care company, Blake Brown, my goodness gracious. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy...
And most telling of all, we can see how totally tone-deaf she is to the movie's theme and how little she seems to care about real victims, like in this next clip.
It's going to affect people and they're going to want to tell you about their lives. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you and then we could...
No wonder her fans turned on her, y'all. And just like Johnny Depp's legal team wrecked Amber Heard, Justin Baldoni's lawyers are getting ready to crush Blake Lively into oblivion. You just can't make this up.
Going to sue Blake Lively too?
Into oblivion, Megan. Wait till you see this lawsuit.
Oh, and here's a juicy little tidbit for y'all. Megyn Kelly's lawyer, yep, he's also representing Justin Baldoni. But like we said from the jump, all of this isn't just some desperate damage control by Blake to save face. Nah, it's looking like this whole thing might have been Blake's evil master plan from the very beginning to snatch Justin Baldoni's movie right out of his hands. And guess what? We've got a mountain of text messages between Justin and Blake, plus messages between Justin, the producers, and the editors that prove it all.
She used these allegations of sexual harassment, and she used these allegations of bullying to try and leverage her position so she could be the de facto director.
Now let's break it down. Justin Baldoni, not only the lead actor in this film, but also its writer and director, was left completely shocked when Blake decided to go behind his back and make her own version of the film's director's cover. And get this, no one was allowed to see it. Can you say power play?
Executive producer to have a competing cut of a film is incredibly bizarre, but when she starts threatening people and saying, I'm not going to promote the film, I'm not going to do anything unless you use my cut, that's when it starts to be awfully incendiary.
But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Justin was even more floored when he found out that Blake's hubby, Ryan Reynolds, was involved in writing some of the film's scenes. And guess what? That's straight up inappropriate, and no one bothered to consult Justin about it.
The iconic rooftop scene in this movie, my husband actually wrote it. Nobody knows that, but you know.
And let's not forget the ultimate slap in the face. Justin was literally shoved into the basement with his own friends and family during the premiere of his own film. Ain't that a mess?
Could have been one of the most beautiful nights of my life career-wise. I literally was sent to the basement with all my friends and family for over an hour because I wasn't allowed to be seen. She didn't want me anywhere near her or the rest of the cast.
Blake Lively was such a brat that her and Ryan Reynolds specifically requested during the premiere that they so did not want him to attend his own.
This is just more proof that Blake's whole agenda was to hijack the film and make sure the spotlight was on her and only her. But guess what? The tables are slowly turning, and things are starting to look real grim for her, because Justin's lawyer is coming for her with a whole load of receipts that are about to bury her.
Documents actually don't lie. People do. And it's important that everyone sees all of the documents that are involved in the case, because there are people that have been destroyed as a result of the allegations that have been made so far in this case.
Now, let's get into some of the lies we're catching her in. Blake tried to accuse Justin of invading her personal space and showing up uninvited when she was undressed or with her baby. But newly leaked text messages are making all of that real questionable. Because if you look closely at Blake's own messages to Justin, She actually invited him to her trailer while she was pumping milk for her baby. The proof is right there, plain as day. And Justin's response? He didn't exactly seem too eager to rush over while she might have been in a compromising position. This clearly shows that Blake set the boundaries herself. Nothing uninvited about it.
It's just an example of how she loves to play the victim. And then the one about, oh, he burst in on me uninvited when I was breastfeeding my child. She says we should run lines together. He's like, anytime. And she's like, come on over. I'm breastfeeding the baby in the trailer, but come on over.
Then there's the accusation Blake made against Jamie Heath, Justin's bestie and lead producer. She claimed he showed her highly inappropriate and even pornographic material. Now, Blake spun this whole thing like she was some poor victim of harassment, but guess what? She conveniently left out some key details in her lawsuit, like the fact that the video Jamie showed her was a birthing scene of his own wife giving birth.
When that, because so often we see births in movies and TV, and they just look so fake. It's like a 3-month-old baby that comes out, and I just wanted it to feel very real.
And as it turns out, the footage was actually quite artistic, designed to capture the beauty of childbirth in a tasteful way. There was absolutely nothing pornographic or harassing about it. But hey, let's just call it what it is. Blake's story isn't adding up.
He showed her a still shot from his wife's delivery of their child, which I've also seen. You can't see any R-rated parts at all. It's actually a really lovely artistic photo.
Now let's get into another wild accusation Blake threw at Justin. She claimed he made some inappropriate comments about her weight and body, basically accusing him of fat-shaming her. The drama got so intense that Ryan Reynolds allegedly called Justin to his penthouse, where he reportedly went off swearing and scolding him. But that's not all. Blake didn't just drag her husband into this mess. Oh no, she apparently used her girl Taylor Swift to manipulate and berate Justin. In more leaked messages, Blake even threatened Justin, claiming she was the great Khaleesi from Game of Thrones, and that Ryan and Taylor were her dragons. Just listen to how cringy it sounds when Megyn Kelly puts it all into perspective.
He says we should run lines together. He's like, anytime. And she's like, come on over. I'm feeding the baby in the trailer, but come on over. Like, it's written there, black and white. She invited him in, and a lot of women are comfortable having someone around when they breastfeed, so it's not so weird, especially out in Hollywood, for him to assume, yeah, I guess she's fine with this because she did let him in. Ryan Reynolds comes off terribly. He had them over to their penthouse in New York, and Taylor Swift was believed to be there, according to this latest complaint. Not within the purview of an actress. And then after that, they have text messages in which Blake tells Justin, this is in the latest lawsuit, I know you've never watched Game of Thrones, but when you get around to watching it, you'll realize I'm Khaleesi, and these are my dragons, and I have the best dragons in the business, right? Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift.
But y'all, maybe Blake missed the final episodes of Game of Thrones because if I remember correctly, things didn't exactly end too well for her. Now did it?
Sorry, Blake Lively comparing herself to Khaleesi has to be one of the wildest cases of self-fulfilling prophecy I've seen to date. Like, everyone's making fun of her for saying that, but what's more Khaleesi than being a once beloved public figure who stood to win it all and lost it in a fiery rage? It is giving twin. She's absolutely accurate. And just like in Game of Thrones, in the end, those dragons did not mean shit.
All right, so here's what really went down. Justin did ask his personal trainer, hey, how much does Blake weigh? Blake caught wind of it, and of course she blew it way out of proportion. And let's be honest, at this point we're seeing a pattern with her, twisting things out of context. See, Justin has severe back issues, and there was a scene in the film where he had to lift Blake. So it was actually essential for him to know how much she weighed to make sure he wouldn't hurt his back, or worse, hurt Blake. There was absolutely no fat shaming involved, no body talk. It was all about safety. But even more damning are the leaked messages that show how incredibly supportive Justin was when Blake expressed concerns about her body image after giving birth. In one message, Justin reassured her with a sweet note, making sure she felt comfortable. This right here shows the exact opposite of what Blake's claiming. And now, there's another allegation making headlines. Apparently, there was no intimacy coordinator on set, for those of you who don't know what that is.
An intimacy coordinator's job is to be there to facilitate the filming of existing and agreed upon intimacy, okay? They're there to basically broker and manage consent and safety. That's what they're there for.
So, according to Blake's lawsuit, she's claiming there was no intimacy coordinator on set to oversee those intimate scenes. She says Mr. Baldoni went ahead and improvised physical intimacy that wasn't rehearsed, choreographed, or even discussed with her. No intimacy coordinator involved. But here's the catch. Blake's lawsuit totally contradicts what she said in interviews. In one interview, she literally admitted that yes, they did hire an intimacy coordinator.
With Justin also off the chart. And Blake, you always have a vision. So talk to me about how sometimes you were even the intimacy coordinator in some of those sexier scenes. Like we saw you.
That shouldn't be happening, by the way. I just want to be clear that you should not be the intimacy coordinator. You should definitely hire intimacy coordinators, which we did have. Thank goodness.
So now we're left wondering, which is it? Was there an intimacy coordinator or wasn't there? If you're still on the fence about this one, how about we throw in some real receipts? Actual text messages between Blake and Justin. And guess what? Blake responds in those texts like she wasn't all that worried about whether there was an intimacy coordinator or not. In fact, in several interviews, way before Blake even thought about suing Justin, he praised her for taking control of their intimate scenes. So, if she was so concerned about it, why was she so chill in the first place? It doesn't seem like Justin was trying to cover his own behind, does it? The whole thing's starting to look fishy.
Instances where I honestly just tried to get out of the way and let her take the lead, and especially when it came to intimacy and all of that, like she had a very clear vision, and she was telling me what she thought would work and what she thought would be sexy.
Honestly, there were many instances on set where I just let the women figure it out, and I took a step back and kind of jumped in more as an actor in those scenes than even as a director.
And now, to top it all off, we've got Blake caught on camera, clearly directing Justin on how to pull her in and do a kissing scene. If you look at their body language, it's clear. Blake's calling the shots, and Justin's just going along for the ride. But wait, in her lawsuit, Blake specifically references one scene, so let's break it down point by point. And let me tell you, almost every single point she made has totally backfired on her. So, Blake claims they were filming a slow dance scene for a montage, and that no sound was recorded. She says Justin chose to let the camera roll, but he wasn't in character, and instead spoke to her out of character. And then, allegedly, Justin leaned forward and slowly dragged his lips from her ear down her neck, saying, "It smells so good." So Blake claims there's no sound in the scene, right? That's convenient for her, because it means she could completely manipulate what happened. But oops, Blake, Justin's lawyer, dropped the actual footage from filming. Guess what? There's sound. And once again, it's proving that Blake's been twisting the truth. So now it's time for you to see the original video for yourself. In the comments, let us know. Does Justin come off as a monster who's hurting Blake? Or is it more like Blake tried to play the victim and it totally backfired? And here's another thing. Blake wasn't exactly acting in character either. At one point, they're talking about their spouses. Hardly uncomfortable or harassing, right? And when Justin says, "It smells good," it sounds way more innocent than Blake's made it out to be. Take a look at just a few seconds of the 10-minute clip.
Well, it's not bad. It's survived.
Second, and here's the real kicker. Blake's lawsuit claims, and I quote, "Nothing needed to be said because, again, there was no sound." But hold up, isn't this Blake herself telling Justin that they should talk in the scene? Oh, Blake, looks like you've been caught in another lie. So y'all, I gotta hear what you think about this whole mess and the major plot twist that's unfolding. I mean, seriously, it's getting wild. Now Blake's going full throttle, slamming Justin Baldoni and his lawyer with a gag order to stop them from leaking any more of the receipts, text messages, and other evidence against her. Heaven forbid Justin actually defend himself, but wait for it. Here's the real kicker.
She's had her shot against him, and she's severely damaged him with that New York Times piece and this complaint, which she managed to get leaked. Now she wants a complete gag order. Poor Blake. Why should Justin be able to release snippets to the media without the full context? That's what she said. That's what she did.
So, what's your take on all this? The big question here is simple. Has Blake been lying this whole time, playing the victim, and now her so-called evidence is blowing up in her face, all thanks to Justin Baldoni and Megyn Kelly's lawyer? Or is there actually some truth to her side of the story? And is she really the victim here? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of our juicy updates. You already know we're bringing you the hottest celebrity tea.